Welcome to Hoyt's Pro Shop. My name is Doug Denton, Recurve Engineer. Today we're going to be discussing the all-new HPX. So what's new with the HPX? The HPX has enhanced geometry that produces a smoother draw cycle, has less vibration, more consistent grouping, more forgiving bow, steadier aiming, and is the fastest Hoyt recurve we've ever made. The all-new HPX incorporates the Formula paralever limb pocket design. The paralever limb pocket design actually reduces the loading on the recurve riser by 40%. With the recurve limb, as you pull it back to full draw, it applies the load down to the riser at the dovetail and also up vertically on the tiller boat. By reducing this stress on the recurve riser, it actually helps reduce the vibration that the riser sees, actually helps the limb become more stable, and actually by stretching its limb pocket out, we now have a recurve limb that works from the tiller boat all the way to the recurve tip, which produces a much smoother draw cycle and a lot smoother drawing through the clicker. So one question I get a lot is, how does the paralever limb pocket increase stability of the recurve bow? And what I'd like to do for that is I have a really good example of showing stability of a recurve bow and what the paralever limb pocket does. So I'll use this stabilizer as an example. In the past, on traditional limb fitting bows, the 2 points where the dovetail and the tiller boat are, they're very close together. So in representation, my hand being the tiller boat and then my other hand being the dovetail of the recurve limb. If you was now to grab the very top of this stabilizer, it'd be easy for you to move it left, right, and in any direction. I could not control where you wanted to move it. But by extending those 2 points and increasing the distance between the tiller boat and the dovetail, you now have more stability. So if you was to grab the top of the stabilizer now and try to move it, I would have a lot more control over where you would want to move this. That's the reason the paralever limb pocket gives more stability to the Formula bows and therefore making the bow more accurate. Now we're going to talk about dynamics flex control. Simply put, dynamics flex control is controlling the amount of flex that we have in a recurve bow. We have in-plane flex, which is towards the pull, and then we have out-of-plane flex, which is towards the sight window. By controlling the amount of flex that we have on the in-plane and then completely eliminating the out-of-plane flex, we're able to produce a more accurate and more forgiving recurve bow. So now we're going to talk about recurve geometry. In the past, we've had traditional recurve geometry, and geometry of all recurve bows is simply stated the triangle that can be formed from dowel to dowel and coming up to the cushion plunger hole. That height of that triangle dictates the deflex of any recurve bow. With the HPX, we've actually decreased this distance by 18 millimeters, or roughly 3/4 of an inch. So by decreasing the height of the triangle or the geometry and making a straighter recurve riser, we were actually able to make a more accurate and more forgiving riser. Now let me explain to you how that's really working for us. Traditionally, recurve shooters, as we're coming through the shot, fundamentally the most mistakes we make are back here, not having a good strong release. With the enhanced geometry of the HPX, it allows the arrow to be in contact with the string a longer duration of time, thus giving the recurve limb more time to recover, to put that arrow on a proper trajectory down to the target. Now let's talk about the enhanced geometry of the HPX and how it helps produce a steadier aiming and holding of a recurve bow. Traditionally, when we talk about aiming and holding, it's not something that a recurve shooter really talks about, because in the past you have your sight pin and it's floating around the goat and we're still executing our same shot. But by changing the geometry of the recurve bow with the HPX, it actually helps produce a bow that will aim and hold steadier. Why is that important for us? Simply put, it's important to us because when we have our bow and we're aiming and the sight pin doesn't move off of the gold, it gives us more confidence to execute our shot. And when we have more confidence to execute our shot, we're going to shoot higher scores. Another aspect that we changed on the HPX is the cushion plunger hoe. We changed the location of this hoe. Through our testing with our top shooters throughout the world, we found the optimum place to have the location of the cushion plunger. Fundamentally, if you was to take the center of a recurve bow, which is fundamentally in the throat of the grip here, and take a measurement from the center of the cushion plunger hoe to the center of the bow, and then a center of the bow to where we place the pressure into the grip, these two distances become equal. And when those two distances became equal, we found the optimum location for the cushion plunger hoe, thus making the bow more forgiving, easier to tune, and more accurate. Standard on the HPX is our new Pro Series high-risk grip. This grip was developed off of looking at our top shooters throughout the world and seeing how they're modifying their grips. So when you purchase an HPX, you're going to have a grip that has already been customized to fit the recurve shooter's hands to help produce a steadier aim and holding. Also new on the HPX is the all-new patent-pending Pro Series tiller boat. The new patent-pending Pro Series tiller boat has a pivoting head, and this pivoting head will allow the tiller boat to stay in contact with the recurve limb in all weight configurations. It actually will give more surface area or contact area to the tiller boat to the recurve limb, thus giving it more stability. And when you have a more stable limb, you're going to have a more accurate and more forgiving recurve bow. Thanks for visiting Hoyt's Pro Shop. Be sure to visit your local Hoyt dealer to get custom fitted for the HPX. Also, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you.